You're live.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everybody. We hope that you and your families are safe and healthy during this time, and we thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Welcome to the next installment of our Harrisburg University webinar series. My name is Derek Hoggy-Leek, and I am an admissions counselor with Harrisburg University of Science and Technology. We are very excited to have you here today to learn about our new applied mathematics program that will be starting next year. Before we get started, there are two things that I wanted to note. The first is that everyone watching is muted, but we do encourage you to ask questions throughout our presentation today. Please do that using the chat function in Microsoft Teams, and we will try to answer as many questions as we can towards the end of the webinar, but feel free to pose those throughout the presentation. The second thing that I wanted to inform you of is that this webinar, like others we've done previously, is being recorded. So if there's anything that you miss or anything that you want to rewatch, it will be available at the link that I will post in the chat room. And again, we have other webinars that we've already recorded that will be in that link as well, including financial aid, career services, student services, and other academic programs. So make sure you go back and rewatch those if you haven't seen them already. We have two incredible guests here today. We have Dr. Keisha Belgrave and Dr. Sam Bonini. And again, they are going to teach us all that we need to know about applied mathematics and the new program that we have coming up. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Dr. Sam Bonini.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. It's a beautiful Friday, so we'll try to go through this, and so you'll have a little bit of free time today. What I'm going to do is to share a few slides for you, and basically, I think what I'd like to do is to tell you about our very, very new program at Harrisburg University, and that is the program in applied math. And I think I'm just going to outline a little bit about its structure and the goals of this program. What can you do with this program when you graduate, and what kind of opportunities will you have? So let me get started on this. So this is part of our math group right now. We really have two leads because, as you're going to see, the applied math program has two fundamental concentrations that are available to our students, depending on what they like to do, depending on their interests. So I am Dr. S. Bonini. I am the lead and for the applied math group, and I specialize in science for those students who are interested in applying math to the sciences. I myself am a physicist. The second lead is Dr. Kevin Purcell, and he is heading up the concentration in applied math that is all about business and data analytics. And the remaining people that I have underneath here are just a few of our mathematics instructors, but there are many, many more actually that I didn't include, especially from analytics, so I apologize for that. Okay, so let's just take a look. I'll just show you in general what the program in applied mathematics came out to look like structurally when we created it. And so as in all programs at Harrisburg University, you have foundational, so many credits, 18 credits of foundational courses. These include English and speech and so forth. And there are also the general education program, which allows you to kind of branch out into all kinds of different courses in all fields. And then, but finally, the ones that are most interested, I think you're probably most interested in right now, is the mathematics and computational core. So this mathematics and computational core is the heart of the applied math program. And now, as I said, depending on your interests, Some students are really interested in, they might want to go out and work in a biotech lab or in a medical laboratory somewhere and apply mathematics in that environment, that is, in a scientific environment. And so we have a concentration called the natural sciences, and those students, after completing the computational and mathematics core, students who are interested in the sciences will take several courses in the sciences, and I'll show you those in a little bit. If you're more interested in the data analytics and optimization and business end of applied mathematics, then you can take our data analytics concentration, having completed the core. And there again, there are several courses that are strictly devoted to data analytics, mathematics. And then finally, threaded throughout the entire program really are the experiential and our seminar courses. The experiential are key, as with all programs at Harrisburg University. And the experiential courses are basically three. There is a project number 1, a project number 2, and an internship where you can actually go out to a business or organization of your choice and get your feet wet and do a little mathematics for a company in the Harrisburg area. So that's basically it, a mathematics core and 2 alternatives here for a concentration. So just to show you a little bit more detail, the big box is our mathematics core. And you know, in looking at this thing, you might find that this mathematics core is probably a little bit more rigorous than one might find in a generic applied math program at any other university. It's quite rigorous and it's quite complete. So you really get your fill of some mathematics in this program. And so it starts out with computer programming. There are 2 courses that you will take from our computer information science program, programming 1 and 2, and this will no doubt be Python programming. So the whole idea of computer programming and using computational software is also threaded throughout this entire core and in fact in your concentrations. So after the programming, we will pick up with a calculus series, calculus 1, 2, and 3. Everything starts in higher mathematics with the calculus series, and so does our core. And then we move on to some a course in linear algebra and matrices. It's the basis of actually both mathematics and the sciences, and certainly in the data analytics. And then moving on, we get back into the calculus with a really nice course in ordinary differential equations. And here is where we get heavily involved in modeling mathematics. Like, how do we model a problem or a certain situation that may come up in a business or in an organization? And you'll find when you take this mathematics core is that just about everything that you model in the real world starts as a differential equation. So that comes along pretty quickly after we've had our calculus. The differential equations is in there. In fact, I think you can typically take ordinary differential equations right after Calc 2. Well, finally then, after the differential equations, we have a series of courses that are very much geared toward applied math as far as modeling. And so the first one is numerical methods. So this is strictly a computational. How do we use computers, given a solid math background, how do we use computers to analyze data and solve real world problems? So there's a lot of, computational curve fitting and applying numerical methods to calculus and so on. And this is really important. Many problems that we get out in the real world we can't solve in closed form on paper. We need computers to help us to do that, and so that's what numerical methods is all about. There's a course in methods in applied math, and here's where we just put together a hodgepodge of different mathematical entities, different concepts in mathematics that we think are important for our students. But I think as well, we may find that our students are interested in certain aspects of math, and we would put that into this methods in applied math as well. So it's very much open to what our students are interested in. And finally, of course, the biggie is the mathematical modeling. That's why we're here. The program is really not a pure mathematics, like a mathematics major type of course. It's applied mathematics. We want to know, how do you apply math to solve problems that people come up with in the private sector and in academia and in finances and so on. And mathematical modeling pulls everything you've learned in the mathematics core together. And we do a lot of statistics using probability and statistics and so forth to model applications in the sciences, in business, in economics, you name it. And finally, I guess to sort of round out the entire thing, we have a course in experimental design and analysis, and that's really statistics, but it goes much more in depth and teaches you not only how to solve a problem in statistics, an applied problem, but how do you design an experiment that is going to be able to elicit the information that you want. And that's probably the most important part of solving problems. When you perform an experiment, you need to design that experiment so that it actually gives you the data with minimal uncertainty that you're trying to get. So that's the experimental design and analysis. So that, and essentially, is our core. It's a really nice core. It's a very in-depth mathematics core. So as I said, again, after having finished this core, there are options that you have. So students who are interested in applying all this mathematics to science, and let's say engineering, for example, well, they would take an additional 16 credit hours of courses to fulfill the science requirements. Right now, those courses include 2 semesters of university physics, that's calculus-based physics with a laboratory, and also 4 credits in chemistry and 4 credits in biology. But even here, I think if students are really, really interested in chemistry, for example, maybe we could just substitute some of the bio for the chemistry and so forth. We're willing to open that up if we need to. And then, of course, after these science requirements, there are still electives for you to take. We have a myriad of different science courses at Harrisburg University. It is a STEM university. Biophysics with Dr. Belgrave, for example, developed a really neat course in biophysics, and we have many, many other courses in the sciences and biochemistry and so forth. And besides the science requirements, the other opportunity, as I said, is the data analytics requirements. And these students are going to be more interested in solving problems, perhaps on the business, in the business sector or the financial sector of our economy. And there again, there are about 12 credit hours worth of courses that you would take that are devoted specifically to data analytics. So the idea here is to gather a strong mathematics core background. That's what that core is all about. It's to teach you how to think mathematically. And then the science and or the data analytics requirements, you'll be super prepared to handle anything that those courses have to offer. So that's it. That is the basic structure. And then there again, by the way, in the data analytics concentration, there are many electives available to you where you can branch out and take anything you want in the university. when we actually structured this new program, we saw that it offered something that just simply doesn't exist in many universities. And it turned out to be quite a unique system that we developed here. First of all, it is totally structured for students with diverse interests. And this is probably one of the few applied math programs that I've seen anywhere where you have two different types of people that are taking the same mathematics core courses. Those who are more business and say financial oriented, that is the analytic students. But then also there are students in those same classes that are interested in applied science and technology and physics and chemistry and biophysics and biochemistry and so forth. Rarely do you see those two different mindsets, if you will, together in the same place, in the same classrooms, studying math in the same way. So I guess at the end of the day, what you're able to do is you're able to see how do scientists think about mathematics, and likewise for the scientists, how do the business and financial people think about applied mathematics. So we're really excited about this sort of this joining of these two very, what most people think are very different, but you know what? Mathematics is mathematics. So that's cool. We're all together under a single core. The uniqueness goes beyond that because of the structure, as I've just described, our faculty are equally as diverse. So students taking either the analytics or the applied science concentration will meet and be instructed by many different types of faculty. So for example, it could be me, or for example, Dr. Belgrave. We are PhD physicists. And so you'll be instructed by physicists, but not just there. There will also be pure mathematicians. We have professors of pure mathematics, but it doesn't end there. We have, for example, Dr. Purcell, and many of his analytics instructors are more geared toward they're from the business world or for the finance world. So there are many different types of, this is not just a math department is what I'm trying to say, or it's not just a science department, or not just an analytics department. Our applied math program is very much broadened to, I think, to give our students a little bit more of a broad education than you might be able to get in a more narrowly focused program that's, I guess, pretty typical of most universities. We're really excited about that. We can't wait to get going with this program for that reason. So what are we trying to do with this program? What are its goals? Well, certainly the top one would be true of, I guess, any mathematics program. We would want our students to develop an expertise in problem formation, that is, how to formulate a problem correctly, and then so that we can apply mathematics, and then the actual problem solving and mathematical modeling technique application. And of course, it all comes down to using our mathematics strategies to solve applied problems, applications. That's the key to the whole thing. And the second one, because mathematicians find employment in just about every and any sector of our economy that you can think of. We just don't go and work in a mathematics organization, if you will. Mathematicians find work in many different fields. As I said, it could be in a biotech lab. It could be in a bank where you will be working with financial solving problems in finance and so on, or a business who is where this business is trying to operate its production in a more efficient manner and so forth. It's just mathematicians find themselves everywhere, and not just in any one given field. And so as part of that, you might be the only mathematician in an organization, as a matter of fact. And so what you really need to learn to do is to communicate in your math speed, if you will, to others in the organization who are not as well educated in depth in mathematics as you are. So communication, being able to speak the mathematics clearly and concisely, it's and also, of course, to be able to write in written form is extremely important for this kind of a program. Number 3, of course, is to exhibit expertise in numerical problem-solving techniques. What am I talking about here? I mean, as I said, computer programming, such as maybe Python, and other commercial computational software applications. I think you'll see for sure in the mathematics core, we will use a lot of MATLAB, which is quite popular nowadays for modeling and doing computer calculations. But in the data analytics, you would probably also gain experience with other math apps, like R, for example, is extremely well known and highly used in the data analytics and statistical sectors. So this whole thing about the computer and calculating and programming is firmly embedded in the entire program. And then finally, I guess this goes back to what I just said about the communication, that we want our students to be able to demonstrate foundational knowledge and skills within an interdisciplinary work environment. And here again, I just emphasizing here that mathematicians find themselves working in many, many different sectors of the economy. So it's truly interdisciplinary, and you need to be able to speak and work effectively with many, many people in an organization that aren't mathematicians and that aren't not accustomed to thinking about problems in a mathematical sense. So those are it. Those are the 4 key, I think, goals that our students, we would like our students to develop in coming out of this program. And I think if our students can do these 4 things, there's no firm out there that won't take you. Because these 4 goals, as a matter of fact, are just exactly the kinds of things that employers have been telling us. I mean, telling colleges and universities what they need for their employees, and so we're going to give them what they need. I'll just there are a lot of, speaking of statistics, there are a lot of statistics out there that with regard to the need for mathematicians, and it is substantial, that's for sure. But here's just one. This is just from the U.S. This is recent, from the U.S. Department of Labor, the Labor Bureau of Labor Statistics, excuse me. And the projection now is that, given what's going on in the past, employment in math-related occupations is expected to grow 26% over about the next decade or so. I frankly wouldn't be surprised if that number increases beyond that. As far as salaries go, I can show you a little something later on, but the median yearly salary of an applied mathematician is also expected to increase by, I don't know why the number is the same, but it's about 26% again over the next decade. Again, employers need mathematicians. They need problem solvers, and so these numbers kind of reflect that need, and frankly this is going to do more than it but just simply blossom. When you try to list the kinds of places in the private sector and industry that mathematicians are used, I could make a 100-page PowerPoint out of that. But here are just a few. just a few. I've just listed just a few of the places that mathematicians are needed and where one finds mathematicians, business analytics and optimization, a key and crucial role in many of our businesses in the US and globally. Manufacturing design and virtual prototyping, mathematicians clearly find themselves doing work in manufacturing design. Quantitative drug design is really big, and I don't have to even mention that, I guess, given today's situation with COVID-19. There's a lot of drug design going on right now, but there always has been and there always will be. But again, mathematicians are needed there to look at these numbers. Are they measuring and studying what it is they really should be in order to elicit the information they need about drug design? That only a mathematician can answer those questions. You don't have to have a PhD in pharmacology, in other words, to work in drug design. You need a degree in mathematics. Financial risk analysis, of course, goes without saying for the data analytics people. Production planning and supply chain management with a global economy. This is just, ballooning with the need for mathematicians to look at these problems. Biomedical engineering as well, and information retrieval and data mining. We are producing so much data with our computers, and our businesses are obviously doing that. And what can we gather from those databases to teach us what's going on and how we should restructure or improve the efficiency of our companies and so forth? So, well, that's probably the heart of data analytics right there. So this is kind of busy, and it's I try to put a lot of data down into one slide, so don't worry if you can't read this, but I just want to show you there's just really something key that I want to show you about this, which kind of emphasizes what I just said. Anyway, this is just saying that whatever their major, college educated workers had the highest median earnings in southeastern Pennsylvania. So I just picked southeastern Pennsylvania, but these curves look the same pretty much anywhere, indeed anywhere in Pennsylvania, but we're in the southeast, so okay, I chose the southeast. And so what these bars are the median annual earnings by major group of industry and region for Pennsylvania. And this is for bachelor's degrees now, not master's degrees, not PhDs. This is just a bachelor's degree, okay? This is how much you guys are needed. And so, for example, if you just look at these median salaries, that basically, for all of these different sectors, there's education, business, finance, computers, statistics, engineering, mathematics, biology, and so on. But the key thing, and so these numbers pretty much, these median salaries are pretty much like mid 60s to mid 70s. Is what you're seeing here at the end of the day. But the key thing I wanted to show, I'm talking about mid 65,000 to about 75,000 annual salary. But the key thing I think that I wanted to show you here, is that mathematicians don't work in any one single category. We are in business. We are in, obviously, computers, statistics, and mathematics, but we work also in biology and medicine, in hospitals. We certainly work in education, in academia. So mathematicians find themselves in each of these categories. So again, it just shows you the value, I suppose, of an applied math background. We can just work anywhere in any discipline whatsoever. Okay. So so again, this program fundamentally from day one was developed to provide math skills that industry leaders are requesting. We just researched our business leaders, folks from engineering, and from all sorts of different businesses, and from in medicine and so on, in finance, to what do they want, what do they need. And this program was designed to fill those needs. It is, of course, as I said, coupled with a strongly interdisciplinary component for students wishing to apply their math skills in areas of, again, either natural sciences or data analytics. That word interdisciplinary is crucial because, as I said, you might find yourself, no matter where you work, as one of maybe the only mathematician in the organization. And you need to be able to learn about the particular aspects of each individual business that you might be hired in. Number 1, 2, and 3. So as I said, our communication skills, given the interdisciplinary component, communication skills, being able to talk to others in various fields, be able to talk mathematically to them is of key importance. Number 2, our students need the ability to work anywhere in any type of business environment. As I said, it could be a hospital, or it could be a bank, or it could be a science lab, a biotech lab, or so forth. You don't have to have a degree in any of those individual fields. All you need is to be a strong mathematician and an ability to interact with everyone in those different organizations. That's interdisciplinary environment. And then thirdly, of course, this goes without saying, mastery of the technical skills in the areas of core math, statistics, mathematical modeling, numerical simulation, computational skills, and experience in, of course, computer programming. So that's it. That's our program. And as I said, it's brand new. And it begins in the fall of this year of 2020, and so we just can't wait to get it rolling, and we're ready and to go. And so I just wanted to point out to you here that there are, if you would like to talk just personally, or maybe just write a note and convey some your thoughts or your questions in an email setting, that's great, that's fine. I can be reached at sbenini@harrisburgu.edu if you're into the sciences in particular, but I don't care, I'll speak with anyone. Or if you're into the data analytics concentration of the applied math, Dr. K. Purcell at harrisburgu.edu. Just drop us an email anytime. And we'd be happy to converse a little bit in that way, and maybe even at some point get together and talk more deeply about the program. So that's it, Derek. I'm really happy to be able to talk to everyone here about our new program, and we're ready to get going on it in the fall. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that wonderful information, Dr. Benini. It was very insightful. I do believe that we also have Dr. Akeisha Belgrave available as well. Dr. Belgrave, did you want to comment or speak on anything regarding the Applied Mathematics program?
I listened to every single thing that Dr. Benini was saying, and I just want to kind of emphasize anyone that, because when you hear applied math, people just hear the math part. So I just want to make sure that I emphasize that my background and Benini's background in the whole is not really math. So with the program is applied mathematics. So someone like me with a background in biology or biomedical, I still was kind of applied math because I still was able to use my mathematics in a lot of my courses and research. I actually had to take a lot of math courses But I end up getting a PhD in biomedical still. I'm working in the medical field, and doing research on things like bacteria and stuff like that. So I just want people to realize that with a degree in applied mathematics, it does not mean that every single thing is just math, because I know people get a little scared when they hear that. But having that nice background and core in math will take you a long way. It really would take you a long way, and it kind of moves your application and resume to the top of the pile, because people kind of like to see that someone is well-rounded in math, and they're able to apply that math to a lot of different problems. So I was able to apply that to biology and answering different quantitative cell biology stuff. But then and this program is going to allow you to not only do biology or chemistry or analytics and stuff like that, but you can have that math and then at the end be able to choose which path you want to use that math in. So I just wanted to point that out, so people would just not see, oh, scary math. Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. I agree.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much to both of you. We really have learned quite a bit about applied mathematics. I'm very excited just regarding all of the wonderful things that is to come from this brand new program, and I'm sure that all of our viewers feel the same way. So we will now get into the question and answer portion of the webinar, and please feel free to submit questions as we progress. The first question that we have, and Dr. Bonini or Dr. Belgrave, whichever one of you want to answer it, please feel free. The first question that we have here is from Brian. Brian asks, what kind of internships or projects can a student do in this program?
Well, I can start out on that. Well, first of all, the projects, oh gosh, anything. I mean, so the way the projects will be structured is that it could be that a professor would have a problem and suggest that as a good project. But in general, this is true, I guess, of Harrisburg University in general, and probably true for the applied math program as well. We will allow a project in any problem that the students are interested in. I mean, that, so that's a given at the very best. So I mean, it may be you're interested in working some particular problem, maybe on a computer, or to solve some question or some problem that somebody had. So that's what it would be. We would just have you go through all of the steps, and then probably then with a presentation as well, to present your results and how you looked at the problem and how you modeled it with the mathematics and what mathematical techniques used to go through it. So yeah, I think professors might have might take a student and say, hey, this is a really neat problem that would be great for a project. Or the student may say, hey, I'd really like to work on this and make this a project. And we would say, great, let's go. As far as internships, there are so many available. The university does a great job of placing students in various businesses, and we have several hospitals in there. So even there you could just work in one of the hospitals in the area, or any of the private businesses, and there's some manufacturing in the area. So you might want to work for a manufacturing firm for a little bit, maybe helping them amass some data, or maybe you could do a little bit of analysis of some of their data or whatever they want. So there are many opportunities from many different businesses where they would be happy to have you use your mathematical skills for whatever they have. So yeah, it's quite open. It really is.
Great. Well, our next question comes from Sarah. Sarah asks, I want to own my own business one day. Does it make sense for me to double major in both this program and the MEBA program, which is our management, e-business, and business administration program? Does it make sense to double major in both?
Well, I suppose I would say, well, first of all, double majoring is a tough nut to crack. And this program in particular is, it's not going to be an easy one. I mean, it really does demand a lot of your time. So I'm not sure if I would recommend that. However, two things. Number one, as I said, apart from all of those courses I mentioned in the concentration and in the core of the applied math, there are electives. And maybe you would prefer to use your electives to take business courses in MEBA. So that may be one way to get your feet wet in the business world. However, I think, sounds like you're into analytics. So I think, this Dr. Kevin Purcell, who is the lead for the analytics concentration, is himself owns a business. He started his own business and he's still working that business. And so I think I would direct you to talk to him about that, because there's a guy that actually did it. And so he might have something even more concrete to say about that than I would. So it's a possibility, but Dr. Purcell is, in fact, he's not just a professor of mathematics and analytics here. He actually is running a business. So I think I would leave it to him to discuss that with you. And it's a good question, by the way. There you go, Sarah.
Awesome. Our next question is from Jordan. Jordan asks, does the school have any work-study programs for this program or for this major?
It certainly will. It's just starting now, so obviously but I don't see why not. Let's put it this way. For students in the sciences and in analytics, we used to have a program in just analytics until it was consolidated into applied math. We had work study, and so there certainly will be in the applied mathematics as well. No question about it. Yes.
Excellent to hear. And we have one last question before we wrap things up. This question comes from Aaron, and Aaron asks, do we have a master's program in applied math at Harrisburg University?
Not yet. So we just got our bachelor's program together. So hey, there is now, however, now I should be careful here. There is a master's PhD program in analytics. So that's for sure. And that is headed up solely by Dr. Kevin Purcell, who I've mentioned. So yes, indeed, in the analytics, yep, there's a graduate school for analytics. On the science side, we're not there yet. We're taking our steps one step at a time. I hope that answered that. It exists.
Gotcha. Well, everybody stay tuned, as Dr. Bonini just mentioned.
Yeah.
All right, and with that, we are going to wrap things up. I just want to say thank you so much, Dr. Bonini and Dr. Belgrave, for speaking with us today. As they mentioned, if you all have any questions, please feel free to email them directly. We have included their email addresses in the chat room, so please feel free to utilize those. If you have any other questions besides those for Dr. Bonini and Dr. Belgrave, feel free to reach out to us in the admissions office at undergraduateadmissions@harrisburgu.edu. Again, the link to previous webinars is in the chat room, and this webinar will be added to that link shortly thereafter. So if you need to go back and review any material from today, please feel free to do so. We want to thank you so much again for joining us. Again, we hope that you and your families are safe and healthy, and we hope to see you on campus one day in the near future. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you. You too.